won't get any of my salt on you.
You salty demon, you. Welcome, everybody, to the 42nd episode of the Vibe Union podcast. Dilly Dave, the host here, joined by a wondrous, exciting guest, Georgia, Delaney Martin.
Hello.
A.K.A. STP.
A.K.A. STP.
And it looks like the strikes from the patriarchy tonight, so you better strap yourself in. But before we get too loopy and explore what it is that Georgia has to say about life, love and other things, a really good way to start these episodes is to get grounded by acknowledging the sacred ground that we're on. So we record and produce on a combination of the Boomerang people and the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. It's their lands. They are the traditional custodians, not owners. We need to acknowledge elders, past, present, and emerging. State that sovereignty was never ceded. And by acknowledging and creating more awareness around these things, when we're going upon our way, that's going to help rebuild a lot of things that were lost. There was history that was deleted, so let's be conscious in creating new history. How do you feel about that?
I feel very good.
Strongly?
Very strongly. In support of.
Beautiful. I think with this particular mic, Georgia, we're going to have to punch.
Okay. Yeah, cool.
We're going to have to really
get into
let
it.
'em hear it. So, we're coming off the back of the Dusty sessions.
Yes.
Was it the third or the fourth?
That was the fourth live Dusty sessions that we've had.
So we had one online?
Yeah. One
Yeah.
live stream.
Yeah. Awesome. So those who don't know Georgia, a wonderful singer-songwriter, a super viber, somebody who is multidisciplinary. You take it on the decks and on the piano as well. Mm-hmm. So from a singer-songwriter perspective, what is the appeal for you with the Dusty sessions?
I think the appeal for me is creating a space that is incredibly supportive, and there's a vulnerability about Dusty that I really like.
Yeah.
That is a very intimate night, and it's a space that singer-songwriters get to have I don't know, it's not necessarily a unique experience, but it's that intimacy that I really want to celebrate. And along with Kelsey Jean, who also I run the event with, we wanted to make a space that we as performers would love to perform at. It visually looks beautiful. The audience are always incredibly supportive and respectful. It's not a gig where you have people talking constantly throughout. It's everyone eyes on the performer, and just that full respect of we are here to support you and hear what you have to say and what you are doing.
So you're trying to engineer the ideal environment.
Yeah.
If you were to perform, understanding that there's probably a bit of overlap between what's ideal as a performer for yourself and the other people that you and Kelsey get on board.
Sure. Yeah. I think, providing that space, I think, is really the biggest thing. And I guess within Vibe Union, we wanted to create a space that, initially it was very hip-hop centric collective. Mm-hmm. And I think we wanted to create a space where we also felt like we could go and be a part. Not that we weren't comfortable or weren't doing things that we enjoyed, but it's like, let's branch out, let's try new things. And I think that was also a huge part of why we started Dusty.
Yeah, I think it's very important to, everybody talks about diversifying their portfolio, but I think it's very important to, as a music collective, to have many branches of that. And especially in a scene like Melbourne, where it's an expansive scene, and to not create platforms for many and most, musicians or performers would be to detriment of what Vibe Union does, right? It's not only hip-hop heads that can vibe, it's literally anyone on the face of the planet.
Yeah, and I think making it a space that, I'm kind of repeating what you said, but making a space that, or a community where a lot of people are welcome. It's not like singular, if you're only interested in this is just for these people. It's like, let's make it a community where there is something for everyone in some way.
Right, because it's a bit silly to try. It's a bit silly to get clicky, right? Like, there's no point in having a. Jesus.
We couldn't have
We got our
kept it
mates
more
here,
secure.
fucking having beers, smacking denim ass. It's all happening for the boys. Yeah, they really get it. It's all about reading the room.
Really, really.
Which you and Kelsey can do fantastically. But not everybody has that capacity, you know?
It's a skill that you have to
It's
acquire.
certainly a skill. Who would have thought? Like, you see a little bit of a setup, right? I mean, look, this isn't the most prestigious podcast, but
Oh, don't put yourself down.
when you see a setup like this,
Yeah.
and you, it almost looks
People
like they're
are
about
drawn
to.
to it.
Looks like they're about to take a piss off the balcony. Is literally what it looks like.
About to.
I think they already are. Look at that low-hanging denim. Pull them up. Anyway.
Oh, boys.
Okay, so let's run through the lineup of the Dusty session. So I want you to name names
Yeah.
and like maybe go for like 3 aspects or descriptors for each artist.
Yeah, cool. Started off with Raphael Love.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible vocalist, incredible guitarist. So we first saw him perform at one of our live streams during lockdowns, and one of the things that really I was sort of taken aback by him was he was so consumed in his own performance, which I love. I love that. I love the kind of anything could happen, and it would maybe take a few moments for him to realize like what is going on. He's so consumed, so involved, so connected to what he's doing, and I love that.
Yeah, it's almost like he's possessed by this romantic spirit, which
Which is him.
which cannot be hindered by anything else. It cannot be interrupted. It
Yeah.
would take something pretty sharp and abrupt to kind of
Yeah.
mess with his flow. I did
Yeah.
notice that. It seemed like it was almost possessed.
Yeah, in the best possible
In the positive,
way.
yeah, yes.
And so he, was phenomenal. Opened the show last night. Has an incredible sound setup, and he said he was trying new things, and it worked.
Yeah.
So well. So
Yeah.
well. Beautiful voice, beautiful control, and incredible songs that he's writing, and I'm really excited to see what else he does.
Me too. So he kind of, he was up first,
He
kind of
opened.
opened, and then,
Then we had Huey,
yeah.
who was on the previous episode of this podcast.
Yep.
The most beautiful falsetto I have heard in a very long time. Like, where the hell does that come from?
Yeah, he rings it up there somehow.
Yeah.
Dials it in.
With power, and that's also a skill.
The power and control, right? Yeah.
Incredible songwriter. I think he has a really beautiful combination of folk and pop.
Yeah.
Like in terms of his songwriting. And he has released his debut EP last year, and it's been getting a lot of traction, which is really amazing to see. But just hearing the structure of his songs, I really enjoyed listening to, and just really easy to listen to, and
Very accessible, very vulnerable, very allowing people in, and messages to give as well.
Yeah. And beautiful stage presence, was cheeky, was funny, was just a real delight to watch and perform.
There's good levels of awareness, but also brought his own kind of crew. A few of his friends came through, and it was fun when they were pretty keen to pipe in and kind of be a part of it. And I think that's fun when the artist has opened that and not like, oh my god, please don't talk to me while I'm on stage.
Yeah, or really thrown by that kind of interaction.
Right.
Which is definitely, I can understand that as well, when you're in a zone and not knowing how to connect with that kind of out of the blue comment from an audience. But he was phenomenal. I'm so impressed by his performance last night.
Absolutely.
And then
Who brought us home?
Jag and Nico.
Jag and Nico.
Holy shit. Next level of... I described her singing as raw and unapologetic power. Mm-hmm. And the voice that comes out when she's singing and the grace that she has when she's in between songs is just this, beautiful, almost juxtaposition of just incredible kind of grace in her and how she carries herself, and then this performance of just raw kind of power, this animalistic kind of growl in her voice.
Yeah, she taps into the rawness.
Yeah.
She's able to hold space
Yeah.
without doing much except for like kind of almost commanding it with her voice.
Yeah.
And presence, I guess, a lot of my experience with musicians and kind of reading stage performance and presence is like their ability to kind of navigate and own the space. But I guess, for the Dusty sessions, it's a stand and deliver type thing.
Sure.
Right? Where
There's nowhere to hide.
There's nowhere to hide. Yeah, it's fully exposed.
Nowhere to hide,
Just like these chumps behind us.
Seem too fully exposed.
I mean, this is the strongest feature on one of my podcasts ever. I mean, I don't know how tempted I am. I mean, I can't really tell them to move too far either way.
But we've connected with them, and they've still gone, no, we're good here.
Oh yeah, podcast, we get it.
Yeah,
No.
we get this
Cool.
format.
Talking about chumps and people in the background, how was the turnout last night?
The turnout was the best one I think we've had.
Strong, right?
Yeah, really
Did we hit the cap?
I don't even know what the cap is. So, yeah, we hit it.
We hit the cap.
Just made up a cap and we...
Hats off, we hit the cap.
We hit the cap.
Yeah, it was great. What I really enjoyed about the crowd was people sitting and lining the sides.
Yeah.
It was very...
There weren't enough seats. Like, that was
Right.
that full, that people were sitting on the stairs, people sitting on the floor. It was just like, everyone was in and, ice
Right.
on stage.
It was a big space, but it was made to be felt like a cozy lounge room.
Yeah. And I love that, I guess because it's such an intimate event, it works like so Bar 303 have loads of couches, loads of tables and chairs in that space, which I guess is sort of a way that they're dealing with no dance floors, COVID restrictions and stuff.
Yeah.
But it works really well for Dusty.
It's ideal.
Yeah. It would be a very different feel, and I'm not sure how it would work if it was all standing.
Yeah.
People would physically feel that in the audience.
It would take a while for people to warm and want to go to the front of the stage and bop and sway. And I guess like maybe not all of the music that was played begs or demands for people to get up, boob. I said boob. Whoops, get up and boob. Move and groove is what I was trying to say, but I put the boob. Moving right along. When it comes to, so it's yourself and Kelsey Jean who are organisers, hosts.
Yeah.
Do you take turns in hosting?
Yeah, we do.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, as selectors of artists for the Dusty sessions, what are some key things that you're looking at? What kind of appeals to you two as kind of selectors or event organisers?
Great question. We definitely look for people who have either been around Vibe Union or in some way been recommended to us to have on Dusty sessions. I guess we sort of trust a lot of the people that we're surrounded by in terms of
Good matey.
In terms of their understanding of the music scene, of what we're putting on and why they would recommend people to perform.
Is that for them to enter with a particular amount of familiarity and knowing, or?
I think there's maybe an element of like a following that they have as well, the support that they have.
Yeah.
It is a paid gig. We want to pay the artists, and we also want to have the artists have a full audience. Sorry. We want to have the...
I threw you off by looking to see, is this thing on?
Recording.
Is it on?
And I guess it's sort of a two-way street in that we want the artists to have an audience, like a full room to perform to, and the opportunity to have a paid gig. I guess we're all kind of at a level where paid gigs are maybe few and far between.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is, well, the intention is that we're providing a space that you get this respect and this appreciation as an artist, and you get paid as well.
Like a proper performance experience. Yeah. Because, Vibe Union, essentially, you take an event like Lyrebird Lounge.
Yeah.
Initially, where it's like not a lot of money is really involved. People are kind of more involved with goodwill, and they're there to maybe either practice or gain a bit of experience, or maybe to kind of hone their skill, or to, post-lockdown and in between lockdowns, maybe gain that confidence coming back into performing. Stage time, all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, Dusty Sessions at 303 is really, I think it really sets a new bar for standard of music that Vibe Union's putting on.
Yeah.
And you and Kelsey have done done great, bloody great at finding the people, setting the scene, the stage, you dress up the stage. Obviously, you two have great rapport with the artists.
Yeah.
And one of my highlight moments outside of the performances from last night was when Huey, Raphael and Jag were all on stage at the end, talking and vibing with each other. Like,
that was very heartwarming.
And it was perfect, because that's ideally what you want. You want those other musicians to feel like everyone's belonging in that same space and vibing and connecting.
And even hearing that they want to play with each other, I'm like, why don't we just have a jam? Let's do that. Like, that kind of, I guess that goes back to sort of that initial core reason that Vibe Union happened, was that we're connecting people. It's about supporting, it's about providing a space to play and all of that, but we're all building a community and we're all a part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to be a fly on the wall for that jam, I tell you that much. I'd probably pass out. There's too much magic in the room. It'd be wild. Oh dear. All right, so that's the Dusty Sessions, and I guess when it comes to Vibe Union events, what is the new place that people can go online to access information on events, things? What have we created recently that people can go to?
Well, we definitely made a bloody brand spanking new website.
That's what we're talking about.
And it's fucking gorgeous.
And what else can people find on the website?
There's a blog.
Yeah.
There's a blog. A couple of posts have gone up, especially artists from the most recent Dusty Sessions. We've got some info on there. We've got album reviews.
Yep.
There's loads of cool things coming. On the website, upcoming gigs, things that you can check out. The other thing that I think is really cool is that you can look at booking individual members of Vibe Union. If you have an event, if you need photos done, if you need any sort of videography, singers, all that kind of stuff. Mixing, all of that. You can book individual artists through the website, which I really love.
Perfect. You've pretty much ticked all the boxes except for one, which I should have kind of bought up the front of the podcast, when it comes to true housekeeping of a media platform.
It's your job.
But we have a cheeky, that's why I'm acknowledging fault out here. We've got a tip jar up there as well, so a really great way to support creatives and creation and Vibe Union, and what we're doing is to throw a couple bucks. So if you jump on the website, it's a very obvious tab up the front. We've got a tip jar. It'll also be in the description of this video on YouTube, and I know other social media platforms like Instagram, pretty accessible there. So a great way to support, aside from following, subscribing, commenting, engaging, reaching out to us. If you're the kind of person who's got some gold coins of the digital variety, you can throw them our way.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's get into the STP, the Georgia of things. We've kind of danced around who we're actually talking to. Before I ask you, music artist questions, I'm curious, what are some essential things that you would carry around in the daily bag? What are some essential things that you've always got on you?
What's in my bag?
What's in your bag? Yeah, this is it. I've been studying Vogue interview styles recently. Yeah.
What's in my bag?
You don't have to empty it. It's just
I wasn't going to.
Okay. Clarification.
What's in my bag? Sunglasses, phone, headphones, keys, USB, with all of my DJ tracks and instrumentals in case the opportunity arises at any point.
I see some decks over there, G.
I know, I asked the bartender before.
Yeah, right.
I'm
so that's
trying to be quite minimalist with my bag of late.
Right. Did you used to be a bit more heavy set backpack type vibes.
Yeah.
And you just like kind of stack a jacket, everything.
Yeah.
Maybe a floppy disk and CDs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Computer hard drive. Yeah.
2 of them perhaps.
2 just in case the other one crashes.
I mean, you know, if it doesn't exist in 2 or more places when it comes to memory and data, does it even exist?
That's true. Yeah. And I can't rely on my own, so.
Right, yeah, and I'll tell you what, I always outsource my both memory and cognition these days.
Pay someone to do that.
All right, so
Yeah. What is the benefit, or just as a little insight? Is that what that question?
It's a little insight. Another question that's a cool prompt, which I've asked around you or probably to you many times, is like, what's the best idea you've had this week?
Crickets.
Okay, yeah, beautiful. I mean, sometimes, silence is deafening, and we can embrace that.
Yeah.
So here's a bit of an artist question for you. You seem to have dipped a bit more into the multidisciplinary type of vibe. So, doing a lot of DJ sets, you're doing hosting, and then also in your own time, it seems like you've come into a new wave of creating new stuff.
Yeah.
How do you feel like all of these different things are feeding on each other? And is this like a planned move, or is this something that has just emerged?
I think it is a planned move.
Yeah.
It was always an intention to not focus on one thing. I think recognizing, maybe even in job security, in the anxiety of that, and going, I can't rely on one job to support me, and it's also, having a job that is like a 9 to 5 doesn't work for me.
Amen.
Clicks all around me.
Clicks all around.
I think that sort of anxiety, and maybe not being as fearful of that as much, encouraged me to branch out and recognize I'm interested in a lot of different things that all actually feed into each other as well. And I think embracing that in an excited way, and not seeing that as everything could fall out from underneath me and I've got nothing.
Yeah.
Going, why don't I be a singer-songwriter? Why don't I be a DJ, voiceover artist? Also, I do have a job that is my kind of main income.
Yeah.
That also allows me to do all those other things. So I think the shift is, the conscious thing is I have embraced that, and that's the change that has happened.
Is it possible for you to describe the catalyst for that kind of change, or is it just, was it maybe not something that was crystal clear in the moment, like this is it, probably a bit of a slower unfolding of it?
Yeah, I think it was probably years of my own inner work that I had to do, and being surrounded by a few people who were excited by the uncertainty of what the universe is going to give you.
You're talking about Amutha? Probably talking about a bunch of people, but...
I think Mash.
Mash. Yeah, Mashud. Yeah, shout out to MQ.
MQ.
He'll be listening.
Sure. He will.
All the way from Pakistan.
I think I initially was really hesitant to view it in a positive way, and over time that kind of chipped away, and I've definitely taken that as the universe has got you, and maybe that's a really privileged thing for me to say, but I do feel that it's okay, things will work out. If this doesn't work out, maybe it means that I wasn't meant to have this. Maybe it means it's something better or something different, or a new lesson, or a way that I can grow in a different way was meant to come, and being more it's going to work out in some way.
Right, so embracing the uncertainty.
Yeah.
It kind of hold that perspective, you have to have a bit of respect for the universe and maybe acknowledge that there are forces at play, most of which are outside of your control.
Yeah.
But to not think that there is opportunity or something that will happen if this thing doesn't work out.
Or that it's conspiring against you.
I think that's there's two kind of, big perspectives maybe, or mindsets that people have in life. And one of them is, the world is against me.
Yeah.
And the other one is either the world is indifferent or it's a whole lot of other things are happening.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like because that first perspective of like the world is against me, it's very self-centric. It's like things are evolving around me, but you're just like actually very into. Oh, you're just spitting all over the mic there, Dave. He's passionate. He's just whoa.
He's spitting on the mic.
But yeah, I mean
the victim mentality.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah, that I related to, and I'm not at all saying that I am. This is how I think all the time and every day, and nothing troubles me. Mm-hmm. That's not at all what I'm saying.
But it grabs hold of all of us.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And there's a part as well that I feel your initial reactions or like how you were before you've done work, before changes have occurred, are still going to be there, and they can come back up. They can, in times that you feel really challenged, be your initial reaction. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so I'm not at all saying that I am completely changed or I have no way of... that's the only way I'm ever going to respond. But
sure.
In terms of my creativity, that's absolutely how I've shifted that thinking.
It's great, and I don't know, I guess you probably feel a little more light in the foot, a little like you got a less pressure on you, probably feel a bit more freed up.
Yeah. I think noticing even like my change in energy within myself, I used to think that I was constantly struggling with like low iron. And I think if I look back on it, it was probably psychosomatic of like I've actually physically am making myself exhausted.
Or there were other things in your life that were draining your energy that didn't require your attention, perhaps?
Possibly, yeah. But I do think it was maybe the way I was looking at it.
Right.
I think that was... It's that kind of thing of like you have control over how you think about things.
Yeah.
Which sounds so much easier said than done. There's a lot of work that is involved in how you change your thinking.
Really, you at least have control over what thoughts you choose to accept and discard.
For sure.
Yeah.
Or how you think about them.
Yeah. And I think you're right in the sense of that just really takes time, growth, looking inside, but also having some positive influence from other people around you, you know.
And being open to that.
Yeah. For me, the easiest or the best way for me to grow as a person is to surround myself with people who have kind of like desirable attributes, right, that I can either model or kind of simulate in a way or take on board. Inspired by.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. You see these people acting out a thing in the world, and instead of being like bitter about it or like, oh my God, F them for like being successful or that kind of stuff, it's okay, well, like, what are they doing? Like, what is the thing that is working for them?
Yeah. I think something that I really enjoyed, I had a conversation with Raph recently about surrounding yourself with people that are more talented than you.
Yes.
Blew my mind.
I've been doing, well, you know, I don't mean to be like, I've been doing that for a very long time, but that is certainly my mentality, like coming out of school and everything, coming out of that dynamic, you know, entering university or just the real world. I've always enjoyed spending time with people who are older, more mature, smarter, wiser, all of these things. Maybe not initially, but once you understand what's happening and the benefits of being around people. And the thing is, like, you might think that they are quote unquote better than you, but the two people that you're talking about, you and this other person, you see yourself as equals, right? You kind of you talk to each other like you're on the same level. But you know, I guess maybe for the Wrath example is, you want to be good as a producer or a musician, then you better be like hanging out with people that are doing, you know, some things that you aren't, or have been doing it longer, or know things that you don't. Because to grow in a vacuum, hard, difficult. Yeah. Some people can do it. Yeah. If you're a hermit genius.
Yeah.
But we're
not.
We are social crustaceans.
The bottom of a hull of a ship.
Yeah, exactly. And Vibe Union's that ship, and we're on the hull. We're just
Holding on for dear
Yeah,
life.
exactly. Yeah, but I do love that idea. You know, you can be competitive, you can be collaborative, you can network, do all of those things, but to feel good about yourself, the way to do that isn't by hanging with people that you perceive to be less than you, right? That's dangerous.
Yeah.
That just means that you're setting the bar low and you're kind of probably hanging around with people that you don't respect.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, true. Very true. I think coming out of high school, I think I felt that. As in, I felt I was probably in that position. Not saying the people I was spending time with were lesser than me. Yeah, but I think that was maybe what I thought, how I would feel good about myself.
I've been there, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the easy approach to temporary satisfaction in your own life.
Yeah.
Is like...
But there's no encouragement to grow in that position.
There's no reason. There's no reason. There's no encouragement. There's no drive. There's no motivation. There's no inspiration.
Yeah.
You're uninspired hanging around degenerates. Unless they're filling the fucking background behind you on the 42nd episode of the Vibe Union podcast. Unbelievable.
We'll get them to subscribe at the end of this.
Yeah, well...
After that comment, probably not. But.
Probably not. I called them chumps before. I'm not sure if I want them to see this. Okay, so you have been working on a bunch of new things recently. What kind of things are you into creating, and what are you like exploring right now when it comes to your music, your songwriting?
I am writing a lot of music on my own. I am collaborating with a few people to write. I'm working on a project at the moment that I'm not really talking about because I don't want to disappoint myself if I don't follow through with it.
Yeah, I hear that.
And I'm very conscious, and I'm very conscious of saying what it is, and then not. Yeah, I've done that in the past of like talking about all the things I'm going to do and then never doing them.
It's a fatal trap,
Totally.
And sometimes it works out, but often not.
Yeah.
It's like the same premise of there's a house party happening, and you're trying to convince all your friends to go to the house party, and they're like, oh, is it good? And you're like, yeah, it's going to be huge. Everyone's going to be there. And you rock up, and there's nobody but the undesirables there. And you're like, oh, no. Yeah, you've said that. It's all about, like, managing expectations.
Yeah.
But also, I feel like you kind of jinx yourself as a creative if you're kind of blurting out all the shit that you're going to be doing because it hasn't ended up where it's going to end up yet. So you kind of almost don't know what it is going to be or if you're going to see it all the way through.
Yeah, absolutely. And the more that I work on it, the more am I going to stay connected to what I'm doing, or is it going to actually start petering off? And yeah, so I'm talking about it in a cryptic sort of way.
In a cryptic color type way? Shout out to Cryptic Color.
Shout out to Cryptic Color.
Erin, am I right? You better be watching this, Erin.
You better be. Life-changing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm like on my own stuff. That's what I'm working on at the moment.
Cool. Could you allude to any flavors or influences that you're kind of drawing yourself towards at the moment?
I would say it's unexpected.
Okay.
In that it's genres that I've never written in before.
Fresh territory.
Fresh territory. Yeah, definitely more upbeat, taking inspiration from Amatha. And taking inspiration from Ivory.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. In that kind of wanting to just having a great time on stage.
Yeah.
I don't think I have a great time on stage, but I don't think I write or have written music that does that. Yeah. Like, I want to move. I want to feel that sort of have a party with everyone.
Yeah. I guess it's easier to bridge the gap when you're not taking it so seriously in a way. You don't always have to write for an audience, but you should be writing with knowing that some people are going to be privy to what you're doing on stage. both the Mutha and Ivory Archer, shout outs. They're very good at embracing their own lane, also being unapologetic.
Yeah.
Also being like, I'm here to perform, so let's perform.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even though, I mean, they both have quite deep psyches, I think they're both big thinkers and very creative people.
There's a certainty of who they are.
Exactly.
They know who they are.
Sure of foot.
Yes.
Grounded.
Also, great podcast.
Great podcast. I'll be getting back to that, by the way, but moving right along. Cool, so that's some great influences. So in the next couple months, what are you working towards? Are there any events coming up for you or any projects that you think are going to be accessible in the near future?
Not in terms of singing in sort of my own performance. I am DJing a hell of a lot over the coming 2 months.
Yep.
With Tandem Reserve on my own. There's some really cool stuff coming up, which is, being asked to perform or like work at my job and being like, nah, sorry, I'm already booked.
SDP.
I have 1 weekend free over like the next 3 months.
Cool, that's so good.
Which is insane to me.
Big ups to you, and to do that by filling the calendar with many different things, right? Creating hopefully some ultimate balance in your life.
Yeah, and I just feel fueled by it. I feel like I was showing, I was booking something in, or like seeing whether I could have dinner with a friend of mine, and she was like, saw my phone and was like, that makes me feel tired looking at that. And I'm like, no, I'm so excited by this.
The more that you're doing, the more that you will do.
Yeah.
You know, I've always been very apprehensive about overdoing it.
Yeah.
But if you don't go for it and do a bunch of stuff, then you can't get that momentum.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, you know, any day that you're left to your own devices to think about what you're not doing is a bad day, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I was sick in bed a couple of days ago, and I thought I used to probably not feel that terrible about that. And then it was a huge shift. Like every tiny little moment where I was like, oh, maybe I'm okay. And then I'll get up and I'll do all these things, and I would sit up and be like, I'm not okay. But having that in me is still quite a shock. That's just, relearning or just discovering who I am in this new way is quite exciting.
Yeah, it sounds like you're always ready to embrace and like get out there, you know, embrace life and get out there, which is a hard state to enter and maintain.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I think it's come as a shock to a lot of people in my life as well, but also to me. But it's celebrated. It's not as like you're a new person and who are you. It's just
right.
It's quite exciting.
You're growing into yourself.
Yeah.
Like we all are, hopefully.
Yeah, we all are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling when you have these moments where you can see growth or reflect on growth, or other people are like, yeah, you're doing the different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, big ups to you on your growth, your mad contribution and involvement to Vibe Union. You embody and act in the world all of the things that we would want people in Vibe Union to do. You know, when it comes to like embracing new things, like I'm not sure if you've actually had a bit of a history like being an MC or a host. Had you done that a little bit?
No. I mean, I've worked in radio, but not with like a live audience or that kind of,
Right. And initially there was probably some little feelings of like,
totally.
A little anxious.
That's exactly what they were the feelings.
Yeah. And it's cool that you've, I don't know if it was easily overcome, but you've certainly overcome them. You seem like you've got great stage presence when it comes to welcoming and presenting other artists, which is an interesting art form within itself. The whole idea behind the host or the MC, like that's
You're almost making yourself redundant in like I'm not drawing attention to myself.
You're ceding power.
Yeah, but you have the power.
Exactly. Well, it's an illusion, right? It's this fun trick that you're playing where obviously you need to be important enough for people to listen to you, and to take direction from you.
Yeah.
But it's not about you.
Yeah.
Buzzy.
Weird. Yeah, you got it.
Weird shit.
You got it.
Okay, well, I feel like we're certainly on the tail end of the Vibe Union podcast. You know, there's no point in drawing things out. I feel like we've given them a lot of insight about, you know, what you've been involved with and what Vibe Union's been doing. What is on the close horizon? Like, what's some up-and-coming things for Vibe Union that people should be looking out for that you are either involved or not involved with? Let the people hear what's happening. What's up and coming?
We have our monthly big old party, State of Oscillation, at Radio Bar. It's always an incredible time. It feels like a place where we all just get to let loose and connect with each other, just continue to grow the community, invite new people down. And Tandem Reserve are the kind of main DJs for the event. We every now and then have new people come in, feature different artists. So that's something that we all kind of look forward to every single month.
The Vibe Union party.
Exactly. Exactly. We're going to be performing at the Come Together Festival.
Cool.
In March.
Do you remember what date in March?
19th.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And that's a bit more of a family type vibe, yeah?
It is. Definitely a little bit more, restrained maybe in some of the stuff that we can sing about, rap about on stage. But it's still a really beautiful festival. And just to get out amongst nature, have a bit of a boogie, have a bit of a dance, and sing, and it's a great time.
Absolutely.
So we're going to be performing a couple of tracks, and Tandem Reserve are also going to be DJing for a little bit as well.
Cool.
There's some really exciting stuff. April 9th, we've also got another Dusty Sessions. We haven't yet announced who's performing, but that's booked in.
But you know who is? They're already... That's very exciting. And also, just to fill in another date, March 5th, back at Bar 303 with that Mortal Cadence, that hip-hop show. So we know who's on the list. They've been locked in. We've got Raph bringing it, fully repping the Vibe Union outfit. We've got Hannah Rosé, mixture of R&B, hip-hop, a little bit of soul in there. She can sing, she can steez, she can dance, she can bar out. And then Kudos, who's a bit of a veteran in the field, and I've always rated as one of the wildest spitters. When I talk about top 5, rappers in Melbourne with people like D-Rad or whoever else I talk hip-hop with, he always enters the top 5.
I saw him at Boogeyman.
Right.
We were there at Mr. Boogeyman the other night, and that was, who is this guy? Never seen him before. Impressive.
He's better than all of us. When it comes to the rap stuff, he's wild. He's been doing it since 14. Through D-Rad actually, and he had a mixtape launch, the Goodie Bag mixtape launch earlier, a week or so ago. James, aka Kudos, came through to that through D-Rad, but then met, I'm pretty sure, Lane there, and they were talking about the spoken word Talking Blue night. And Kudos is big on the spoken word. He was telling me often when he does performances or gets booked for shows, he does a lot of spoken word within those shows.
Oh, wow.
So he was very excited to hear about Talking Blue. But now has just started coming through to our events and stuff. We managed to book him for Mortal Cadence, and he has identified Vibe Union as being the scene.
That's cool.
So it was a nice little bit of validation from that gentleman. But it's cool how we've become connectors.
Yeah, and being at Dusty last night, it was really nice seeing, as you sort of mentioned before, everyone sort of connecting, but also being able to, all of us sort of being big parts of Vibe Union, doing that, pushing the other events that we've got. It's what are you sort of into? Oh, we have something for you. Come through to this. That feels really cool, that it's not just this is all we've got. We've got so many other little pockets of things that you can be involved in.
Yeah. I mean, we don't necessarily have something for everyone, but we will at one point. It's kind of, we're on its way.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have a great classical outfit. We don't have a kind of an orchestra or something like that. But I'm sure that, you know, the cloud will carry us far. Mm-hmm. Like a cloud. Alliteration.
You got it.
All right, so I feel like this is probably the point to kind of wrap it up.
Yeah.
Any final words for the people tuning into the Vibe Union podcast?
Just keep coming to events.
Yeah, that's the best place, right?
That's the best place. And describing Vibe Union to someone last night, someone who I knew 10 years ago and has come back somewhat into...
Steve?
Yeah. All right.
Shout outs. Name drop.
Being able to describe that there have been other communities, other scenes that I've been in before, and it was toxic. People were one-upping themselves and like just trying to, just undermine everyone around them and thinking that they were the best. And it almost felt like I was describing a cult in saying that Vibe Union is anything but that.
Well.
I mean... Okay, well...
I'm kidding. We're not a cult, but as soon as you say that, we're a cult, so it's problematic either way.
Well, we're not.
And now people are like, oh, they definitely are.
All right.
They're getting a bit weird about that.
But I personally have never felt competition. I felt support. And that's what I mean in that it's not toxic.
Yeah.
In that it doesn't feel... People are like, how did you get that gig? How did you do that? Like, we all individually work really hard and we recognize hard work in each other, and it's supportive, and I think that is something that is really refreshing in the community.
It gives you a reason to bring it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Great sign-off words. Come to the events, feel the connection, feel the vibes. Georgia, Delaney, Martin, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Dilly Dave.
It hasn't been your first time. Is this your first time on the podcast?
Yeah.
How did we not get you on earlier? That's a
good
real
question,
problem.
buddy.
Whoa! But yeah, I'm sure we'll be seeing you soon, both on and off the podcast. Again, this is the Vibe Union podcast. You can find us on all the major platforms. This is, if you are listening to this is also video content. If you're watching this, you can also catch it on the Spotify. You can keep us in your pocket. Any kind of speaker you got. Keep doing what you're doing. Stay vibing. And cheers.
Cheers.